Right, good day watchers and welcome to our film review tonight. Tonight I've been watching Basic Instinct tonight. 1992 Basic Instinct starring Sharon Stone and Michael Douglas. It's a film that I've seen before quite a few times. It's a pretty right movie, I'd say. It's pretty erotic. So it's directed by Paul Verhoeven, whatever his name is. And it stars Michael Douglas, Sharon Stone, George Zagzan Dezang Gene Triplehorn and Wayne Wright. Wayne Knight, not Wright, Knight. So it's distributed by TriStar Pictures and all that, and released in 1992, March the 18th. Running time 128 minutes. Language English, of course. So the budget of actually, it's quite an expensive movie too. 49 million, and the box office, and it made, it got its money back though, of $352.9 million. So it did pretty well at the box office. They spent a lot on the film, but I mean that's quite a lot of money for a film. But then they made a lot of money back. So in San Francisco, homicide detective Nick Curran investigates the murder of retired rock star Johnny Boz, who has been stabbed to death with an ice pick during sex with a mysterious blonde woman. Nick's only suspect is Boz's girlfriend, crime novelist Catherine Tramwell, who has written a novel that mirrors the crime. It's concluded that either Catherine is the murderer or someone attempted to frame her. So yeah, this film, I won't read the whole lot because it's quite a bit to read. So the film starts off, when I first watched it I was like, okay, she looks great. And of course then he gets stabbed to death. When you watch it, the stabbing's quite brutal, because there was a part of the film that I was watching for, I can't remember him getting stabbed in the face. I mean, the film's quite brutal, but I don't know if that was like a scene that they took out from the TV, because it was on TV years ago and I watched it when I was very young. So you're thinking so, and I admit I was watching it going, oh my, I think I recorded it on VHS. That's how far back it was. So anyway, he gets murdered. They investigate the murder, of course. Douglas plays Nick, of course. He tries to investigate, of course. Then he starts to, ask suspicions about her. I like the fact that she has like a lie detective test, right? She passed it, but he's kind of like, yeah, starts to trust her more, like kind of like, and you think to yourself, he even says that he's not scared of her. I like the fact that you see this scene it's a classic scene. I like the interrogation scene where she's like, when she uncrosses her legs and she crosses it and she goes, nice. That scene was quite nice. It still stays in your head, that scene does. Even now I watch it thinking, Jesus Christ. I mean, Sharon Stone's she's fantastic in this. She really does play that part really well. If you watch the test thing, she's really good. I see why she got the role. So anyway, she's really good in this. She really is. She plays this kind of like narcissistic character. She's very narcissistic at the same time, but she can afford to be because she's so good looking and she's great, and she plays the role so damn well. And I really wasn't surprised by the twist out there, because I was sitting there going, when I watched it the first time, I thought, I know that I wasn't really. That's the only thing bummer about this film is the fact that the movie, I kind of went, it's too damn obvious. It's that person. And of course, so anyway, when they started, there's a thing I noticed about in this movie though, right? There's the interrogation scene kind of mimics the scene where Finger's character, another character gets killed, he gets kind of blamed for it almost, and of course, Nick's character, he gets interrogated, of course. Then he says the same stuff that Catherine says in the interrogation scene where he's smoking and stuff, and he says the same thing that he kind of mimics what she says, mirrors and what she says. It's kind of like, that's interesting. So she starts to have effect on Nick, seduction and stuff. And when you do this, when the sex scene does happen, it is a slight bit awkward, because you think yourself, Michael Douglas in a sex scene looks a bit weird, but I suppose it's worth seeing that than seeing Sharon Stone full blown naked, of course. Sharon Stone looks great. She looks really good in this film. My gosh, she was like a blonde bomb shows in the late 80s and 90s, of course. Beth Garner. There's a character called Beth Garner who's a psychologist doctor. Of course, he had an affair with Nick's character, of course. And the scene with those two is pretty full on too, where he actually has sex with her. You know, and there's a bit of a story between her character, and Catherine, and I was like, you know, why the hell didn't they show that scene with those two together? That would have been pretty. That would have been kind of something, seeing Catherine and, you know, Beth's character together. And of course, I mean, I wasn't really convinced by who the killer was. I was sitting there thinking, that doesn't add up. Because when you see the sex scene in the beginning of the film, there's like a blonde woman. You think to yourself, that's not a wig. No way, it's not a wig. So yeah, no, I don't know. Wigs look, I don't know. The wig looked a bit. When they found a wig, you know, there's a scene in the film when so the film was good though. It's got like twist. It's got like twist and the twist at the end of it didn't really surprise me. Like I said, I was kind of like, but the performances are really good. Really good performances. And like I said, I think he's a great character. Sharon Stone's character is great. Sharon Stone does a fantastic job of this. And the guy who directed RoboCop does a great job. I don't know what went wrong with that with their showgirls. I have no idea, because what showgirls you think are different as bad acting and stuff. But he's a good director though. He does a really good job with the shots and stuff, the sex scenes and stuff, and the film does look pretty good on 4K. Pretty good. Actually, there's another part in this film where I think his character, Nick, Michael Douglas, Nick, he's watching Hellraiser. I was sitting there going, oh, he's watching Hellraiser because he like wakes up. I found out that's the time one of the characters gets shot in the head, because he has like an argument with one of the characters and he gets killed. And of course, he's watching that Hellraiser. I'm thinking to myself, can't knock his taste in movies, Hellraiser, watching Hellraiser. Of course, he's asleep, so he's kind of missed most of the film. I can show you where it was Hellraiser because of the characters, you know, the monsters and stuff, and the scene in the girl getting chased by these monsters and stuff. I was thinking again, I could watch. I thought it makes me want to watch Hellraiser again. It's a good film. Hellraiser is a good film. It's nice to see it in Basic Instinct. So yeah. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this movie. Especially there's a lot of bad language, there's a lot of violence. The violence is pretty nasty too. Some of the scenes. Some nasty moments in this. Like I said, the twist. I suppose the twist wasn't super important because you kind of know who the killer is. It's the kind of relationship between Michael Douglas' character and Catherine, how it pans out. And of course, you see Catherine's character getting more emotional later on. There was a part in the movie where she just started crying when her girlfriend dies. And that's when she actually shows real emotion in this. Because when the other characters die, she's like completely stone cold. She doesn't give a, you know, as long as it's a good F, that's it. But then when her character gets killed, because she tries to run Nick over, of course, she ends up killing herself, of course. Then she shows more emotion, and of course, she writes books and stuff. But there's a part in the movie where she kind of says it's over between them both, and I think to myself, well, that's weird. And she looks upset, you know, because the book's done, finished. And of course, you think to yourself, well, maybe it's dodged a bullet there. And that's interesting. I'm not sure if that's because she didn't want to kill him or stuff. No, just say she was the killer, of course. So yeah, I'm not sure if she wanted to kill him or... I was sitting there going, I wonder if that's because she didn't want to kill him. Or whatever. So yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. It's a good film though. It's not one of the best films I've ever seen, but it's a good, solid movie. It's not one of my favourite films of... It's not one of my favourite films of the directors, RoboCop or Starship Troopers. Awesome movies. But I liked it. Good solid performances. The sex scenes are pretty full on though. They are pretty full on in this movie. Yeah, it deals with that kind of stuff like sex and violence and rock and roll and stuff like that. So yeah. Okay, the ending part was pretty interesting too, where his friend gets stabbed to death. It's pretty brutal actually. It's pretty vicious, and of course, his psychologist turns up with the girl was having an affair with. She turns up at the end. This part kind of like, I thought to myself, so convenient all of it is. You know, She turns up. This is what kind of made no sense, right? She turns. Okay, right. There's a part in the film where his friend goes. They turn up at this place, at this building, right? Of course, he's going up the escalators. Of course, he gets stabbed by someone. Thing goes up the stairs, right? Finds him stabbed to death. Still alive, of course. Then he dies. And then then Fingers turns up. Beth turns up later on. I think to myself, that's kind of weird, because why would you? I mean, she had no blood on her, of course, but the coat. They find the coat and stuff. She gets shot. They find the coat. I mean, I don't know. I would have presumed there'd be still blood on her. I don't know. Maybe, because there was a lot of blood, and you think to yourself, why would you, stab someone and then stay there and not run off? Just, I don't know. I thought that was a bit odd. Especially the coat on the stairs and stuff, and the wig. But then at the beginning of the film, it didn't look like a wig. So I'm thinking to myself, there's more to it than the story than the last. And of course, like I said before, I wasn't really surprised who the killer was. I was kind of like, not really. That's what kind of put me off a little bit about the film, because the film didn't have that was an amazing twist. I knew who the killer was all through the film, really, but it didn't really surprise me. So yeah. I really enjoyed it though. The end of the part was interesting. Her getting shot, of course, she's getting all been pinned on her, of course, and you think to yourself, okay, so yeah, but I still enjoyed it though. So what I disliked about it, I suppose the film didn't give much of a twist. The twist wasn't surprising, and there wasn't a lesbian scene between the Beth and the Catherine. That would have been interesting seeing those two together. That was the only bummer about the film. That story, that relationship, would have been interesting. Apart from that, it's the only thing I disliked about it, really. The twist was a bit, unexpected, of course. So yeah, what I liked about it, the performances are good. Some good music in it, of course. The erotic kind of music to it. The performances are good. The characters are good, and of course. And an interesting and a good story, I'd say. Really good story. Really kind of about a character who's, you think it's about this, about a relationship between a cop and a detective and a woman that he doesn't really know. Thinks he can. At first, he doesn't trust her, then he starts to trust her. And yeah, but I really enjoyed it though. It's really good. And they start to have more of a relationship, start to have a connection between you. And then, of course, her character starts to have a bad influence on him, of course, because then he starts smoking and drinking again. So her freaking personality has an effect on him, as seduction and stuff. So yeah, it's a film, like I said, it's a good movie. It's definitely worth a watch. And I'll give it a rating that, it's not a perfect rating, but like I said, that's the new, because I don't know, I've seen it before, and it's a good solid thriller, but it's not one of my favourites, but I liked it, so the rating I'm going to give this Basic Instinct, and like I said, it's like a really good thriller, and Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone are great together on this, so yeah. So I give this film a 3.5 out of 5. It's still a good rating, it's not like perfect, I mean, but yeah, it's a good thriller. If you want a good, decent thriller with sex and violence stuff, it's a good movie. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5 for Basic Instinct. It's a good film, so I still liked it. I still like that movie. So anyway, people, remember to subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna go off now. Cross my legs, cross the back, nice. I'm gonna go off now. Have a nice day, have a nice week. Take a look at yourself and have a nice day. And before I go off, one more time, remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. And have a nice week. Thank you very much.